So I came across this video last night. Her name is Candy, and she is a makeup artist, and she has a YouTube channel where she teaches people how to apply makeup. And what am I doing watching videos about how to apply makeup? You know, the thing about the internet is you're always one click away from watching something you did not plan to watch. And her anyway, so I came across one of her videos, and her in her video she's disclosing her life story, and she was extremely transparent. And if you guys know me, you know that I'm a big fan of stories, and which is why I'm a therapist. And her story was moving, and it encouraged me to tell you guys my story. So that's what this is. Unlike her, I only have like 10 viewers, so there's actually a ticking clock. I can only do a 10-minute video, so I will go as fast as I can. Okay, where should I start? This is my third career. Before this, I used to run my family business. We had a little Italian restaurant in Hollywood, and I turned it into a scenic club. And at one point, I almost lost everything that my parents worked for. Meaning, my parents came here with in the late '70s with 2 children and $500 in a VW, and they managed to save up enough money to buy a little hamburger stand. And then by the time I was 21, they saved up enough to kind of work themselves up, and saved up enough money to buy an Italian restaurant. Excuse me. Yes, Korean people owning an Italian restaurant. And the chefs were Hispanic. Anyway, it was over there by the studios, and the lunches were busy, but the dinners were dead. And I ran across this promoter, and convinced my parents that I could turn cool into commodity. I could make this into a restaurant bar and / club. And so I did it, and it blew up. And for about a year, it was just saturated with paparazzi and celebrities. And so I ran that. And the reason I tell you this is because I was very young, and I was living a very false version of myself. And I always tell people that I feel like I was chasing the wrong rainbow. My vision of success, my definition of success was distorted, and I was chasing paper, and image, trying to be cool, after money and fast cars and all that stuff. So during that time, I was also screenwriting because I had a film degree, and I'm trying to connect the dots here. I apologize. At the peak of that restaurant club, we were under scrutiny from the police and Vice, because when you have something that kind of that's popular, and the word gets around, and celebrities are attending, then you're under a microscope. And I was young and stupid, and I didn't have the right permits, and we were doing things that we shouldn't have been doing legally, as far as having permits for the establishment. And on top of that, there were drugs and fights and rumors of roofies being slipped into drinks and stuff. So it was a stressful time because I almost lost everything, all my parents' money, because that's all they had, and they trusted me with it. So fortunately, I managed to get out to sell the business before it went down. But why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I was a different person then, and I really believe things happen for a reason. So because of this, a movie studio actually bought my life rights. And I know it sounds silly because I'm really a nobody, but I thought it was interesting that a scenic club was run by this Asian family. And the deal I had with my promoter was that he was going to front it, meaning everyone thought he owned it, and I was just kind of the kid in the background, right? I was the manager. And so this idea of having the idea of the American dream. And what's ironic was they wanted to do a movie about the American dream, yet I was living a very distorted version of the American dream, if that makes any sense. Celebrities, imagine celebrities in the restaurant. You kind of pan to the kitchen and you see my mom with a fly swatter. So that's kind of the one shot to get a sense of what the story would be. But that fell through, and when that fell through, I was a screenwriter at the time, and which was my second career, and I managed to be represented as a writer and sell a couple scripts, and but when that was going to be my ticket in, and that was supposed to be greenlit, and there was a director attached and everything, but the whole project fell through, and that's when I rebooted and I reanalyzed. I started asking questions and reanalyzed my life and wondered if this is what I really wanted. At that time, also, I was married. I got married young, and my marriage lasted about 5 years, so that was coming to an end, and that was expiring. And the difficult thing about that is, no one did anything wrong. It was more about growing up and growing apart. I was in the room with my own therapist, and my therapist said, "If you can't make movies, what do you want to do with your life?" I said, "You know what? I've been wanting to make movies since I was 10. That's what I want to do." And the whole reason why I wanted to make movies is because I love this idea of creating. I was the 10-year-old that would lock myself in the room for 8 hours and play with Legos just so I could build something and show someone and get a smile or get some kind of reaction or move them in some way. And I think that's why I make these videos. I do it for my own. It's kind of the geek in me. It's me playing with my Legos. And anyway, so I said I wanted to make movies, and the therapist says, "No, if you can't do that, what's your choice?" And I thought about this, and I said, "Then I want to do what you're doing, because if I can't get it, affect people via masses, I will do it in the trenches, one by one." And I've always loved psychology, and I've always been the guy that's growing up that all my friends would come to for advice. I don't know why, but there's always one in a crowd, and I was that guy. So he said, "Why don't you go do it?" And I thought you had to have a PhD to be a therapist, and I was always a C student. I hated school, and there was no way I was going back, and I didn't want to spend the next 5 years in school. And he said, "You know what, you just need a master's, just go to graduate school." Next thing you know, I'm in a classroom, and I ended up getting all A's. I loved it. I just fell in love with psychology. I probably got all A's because I was paying for it for the first time in my life, paying for my own education. But I finished that, and it's 8 minutes. Oh, wow. Okay, so I have a minute. I'm going to speed things up. As I got my degree and started pursuing therapy, we got a divorce and had to go through a rebirth. And I really had, I had nothing. I had no friends. I had no support system. All I had was this degree and my pillow, my Tempur-Pedic pillow. My mom, I don't know what it is, if it's a Korean thing or if it's just her, but her way of, oh, I got 50 seconds, her way of showing love was she asked me if she could buy me a TV, and I said, "No, I don't want a TV. I don't want, but I'm boycotting TV because I was raised on pop culture and television, and I wanted to read and study, and I just didn't want to sit in front of the TV anymore." So she bought me a computer, a little MacBook, and with the MacBook, I created a blog. I started answering questions, and I started getting into people's lives, and I started to hear stories. I'm saying this because of those stories, and you guys have encouraged me to write again, to create, to go back into that room and play with my Legos. And so I'm writing a book now, and I'm a very insecure writer. I'm not confident in my writing, but my time's up. My time's up. This is not going to go online. Jump. Take a risk. I'm not saying to be insane, but be a little crazy, and because that's the window where you're going to find your truth. And life is too short, There are so many stories out there, and my story is a mild version of this, where people have completely reinvented themselves. And two things: thank you. Go do it.